Oh, hello there. I never know where I'm going to show up. Well, I turn that baby on. Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon. Kind of goofing off a little bit. It's on Sunday. I'm going over an old lesson that I did a long time ago. We talking Jesus stuff. And of course, this idea of the worm comes into mind. We're all kinds of things, even grasshoppers in these stories. But that's in our younger ideas. The idea of the younger, when we appear as grasshoppers, it doesn't mean that giants are looking at us and we're looking small. That's a simpler mind coming up with such things like that. And but basically, what it means is, we're sitting around waiting to go. We're using the earth as our energy at first before we can take flight, even. As a grasshopper, we put our backs towards the sun to gather up its energy so that we can then take off flying. And that's really beautiful. It's another situation where when the meek inherit the earth, they like this idea that we become a smaller thing, some kind of a critter, some kind of a creepy crawly thing, but not so much as like the beast. Remember the beast? He's like the skin and stuff like that. It's a different kind of animal that's got to get skinned and beat, cut down. But anyways, in the earlier parts of our lives, when we're spending our times in this, away from God, this is the divided house. So you come in without mother. So the house divided is going to fall in some way. And so fall becomes the fallen angels because it's the divided house. We don't have the spirit in us. The only thing that we have in us is the child, our soul. And it is wrapped up tight, can't move. And that's the whole point of these stories, is to let's see what we can do to get that out of there. Just try to see what we can do to loosen up the bindings on this thing and make this a little happier for the person carrying this child. And of course, all of us, male or female, carry this child around with them, whether they know it or not. That's your soul, yes, yeah, but it's not the spirit side of us, okay? Spirit is being touched by something beautiful, all right? This is being rained on from heaven. The soul, he's not even in charge. You're in charge. Your lower mind. God, Father, part of God. Father is your boss, all right? So anyways, I wanted to show you a little bit more about this, but the crimson worm, this is when you take Jesus, his final sayings and stuff like that. We got Psalm 22, verse 6. 22 is a 4, so it's about worlds, about changing, okay? And verse 6 is going to be talking about, the inner workings of our body. This is what we're going to call it the tree, okay? Because this is how this idea is that Jesus, or this crimson worm, attaches itself to a tree or to a stick, to something that is considered wooden, all right? And it attaches itself in such a way that you cannot get rid of it without hurting the mother. And that's what this would be considered. It's this mother worm, all right? Okay, so that's a good flip over in symbolism, because Jesus is the way. Jesus is representing our inner workings, and it's generally a female energy that does this job. But anyways, we have Jesus putting in this place. It's got the 32 steps up our back to this pineal gland. This 30, is it 32 or 33? Someone will correct me, I'm sure. It's when the 5 are made together, so it'd be 32, I'm sure. However many vertebrae we have. How is it that I can't remember that? Okay? Anyways, I'm testing you guys, so you can write in there what you think it is. All right? Now, what happens with the scarlet worm at the end of these stories now, it winds up being that I am but a worm and not a man. Okay? It's kind of telling in many ways. But you'll see that what this worm is that he has singled out is in Hebrew, it's called the crimson worm. All right. And what it does is it finds itself something to attach to, a piece of wood, so that it can attach itself and then lay its babies. So in the process of doing this, it has this, it takes on this red color, this red crimson color. And moreover than that, it stains the little children, because what happens is she dies. She dies on this wooden thing. And as she dies, her body pours out this red liquid that stains her children. All right. Now, just before all this happening, while the babies are being kept alive, they're feeding off from her. All right. Now, this is the idea of our Kundalini system being the works, and that you can come and feed from this. This is this idea of go and graze in the meadow while you're in there, when you're out in the woods. Just eat these little flowers and stuff like that. This is the bread of life that we talk about, being the sacrifice of God, And so what happens then is that they are now permanently marked forever and ever in his blood. And this is these children, the children of this worm. So we'll find that this is a very positive situation, whereas that once we finally, and listen, it says 3 days after its death, all right, does it turn white, a waxy white color. The stain itself that it shoots out after those 3 days, this red juice of hers goes and stains her children and the wood piece that it's carrying on. All right. So they make sure that they throw in that idea that it gets the wood part too. All right. Then it turns to white, a white waxy substance, and then falls to the ground like snow. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now, what people have done with these things here is they go and scrape them off the trees ahead of time, and they make the red dye out of them. And when they catch them as the snowy part or the waxy part, they catch them and they bake them, fix them all up, and it becomes a wood preservative. So all of these things are positive samples of what God or what Jesus calls himself at this particular time in our lives, when we actually connect God to mother and father together, that this is a once in a lifetime of lifetimes chance to become this marked person of God, and that it's never going to change from this point on. So you'll see that in our stories, we've been told that we come into this world without God. And a lot of people leave this world without God. And they just keep recycling and coming over and over again, playing the energy of Saturn, and never, ever catching on. Now, this story in itself is scripture in secret. This is our spiritual side coming out. That this is this rod inside of us. This is this idea of this. It belongs to the Lord. This whole business. This is the roadway to bring us into heaven and to connect us to God. As we build this, we have to rebuild the temple, not on the outside of the world. God ain't gonna have nothing to do with that. We have to rebuild the temple from inside of us, from the ground up. And just like the story says, and I love this ever since I've ever heard it, and that is that the wrath of God is not evil or chaotic or anything like that at all. It is the day of the ascension. It is a beautiful time when you are connected with God and you are brought into the family, and you now are washed in his blood. And all of your sins are forgiven to you, making you snowy white. It's just so beautiful. So, you know, a lot of people are waiting on Jesus to come. That's for you guys that are, you know, on the fence over there, you know, or, you know, deep in the ditch someplace or in their grave. Wait all you want. When heaven is at hand, and it's at hand now. All right. You go up there and you get your little splatter in the blood. That's not going to be Jesus's blood. It ain't going to be that worm's blood. It's your own blood. And it means the Spirit of God is now within you. And you brought it on yourself. That's how it works. All right. I don't know what all else to tell you about this, but it was certainly cool. They have it all down. The Scarlet Worm, most interesting read of all. You can look it up and you can find exactly the same thing that I've gotten here. All right. And just idea to remember that we are the tree. All right. Jesus says Jesus would say that he was the vine and we are the branch. So a lot of tree symbolism going on. And I'm going to get back to work. All right. I'll see you later. Love you guys. Had a great time last night. There was we had Walt Disney. We have Fantasy Fest down here. It's our last day. Actually, today, Sunday, we have a bunch of children over here at the park across the street that doing trick-or-treating, having a good old time. It's a daylight party for them. And last night was the party and the parade, and I walked around as one of our local blobs. It's a particular artist rendering of something, but it's like wearing a fat suit and had big old eyeballs on it and stuff like that. It was fun. If I can figure out how to get a picture from here to there, over from my thing to your thing, and it won't take but a little bit of work, I'll show you a picture of it. It's kind of funny. All right. Oh, maybe I can do it now. Can I do it now? Nah, I'll do it later. I walk my little feet off. Oh. All right, so guys, I love you guys. Oh, and remember last year I came out as God, man, tore it up, had a great time. I didn't give a shit about it this time. Let the folly go. You know, there's no reason arguing that. You know, not out in public. People are often very blind and don't have any care about thinking or using any kind of more involved thinking. When you're around a drunken crowd, all right? It was so much fun. It really was. All right, I love you guys, and I'll see you later.